So let's begin with number one. If you have highlighters, markers, um, colored pens or pencils, probably a good idea to underline. We're going to be underlining certain things. So here we go. Um, let's see. We have Vidal. He watched 6 times as many hours of television over the weekend as Denis. So we have two people, Vidal and Denis. It's important to understand the context, what's going on in this story. Together, they watched a total of 14 hours of television. And this is the important part we want to focus on at the very first reading. How many hours of television did each person watch over the weekend? Look for the question, the thing that's being asked for you to answer. And let's underline that. How many hours of television did each person watch over the weekend? And each person means Vidal and Denis. So we have to create some variables. We have two people, so two variables. What is it about Vidal and Denis that we have to answer? How many hours of television they watched? So we have to use some variables. Period one said we just want to use X and Y all the time. And that's perfectly okay. But maybe you guys want to use descriptive variables like V for Vidal and D for Denis. So is it X and Y or descriptive variables? What do you want? Any spokesperson for the X and Y I heard? You guys want to use X and Y? Okay. Like I said, there's no wrong answer. So let's use X and Y. But they still have to represent the same thing. So X, and then we're going to write down what that represents. So we started with Vidal. So that's going to be how many hours of TV Vidal watched. Let's write that down. Hours of TV Vidal watched. And you pretty much always get that from the question that's being asked for you to answer. Because now when we solve the equation, whatever X is the number of hours for Vidal. Guess what Y is going to be? The artist or, well, we have another person though. It's going to represent, they said each, and the other person in the each is Denis. Hours of TV Denis. How do you spell Denis? Watched. Okay. So now we're going to come up with a couple of equations using X and Y that are going to help us answer this. Okay? You ready? That requires us to go back and give it a reread. We're going to read it again. Okay. So let's see. It says Vidal watched 6 times as many hours of television over the weekend as Denis. And that's definitely going to tell us an equation. So who watched more TV in that situation? Vidal. He watched 6 times as much as Denis. So when I read that, that tells me I can make up an equation using Vidal and Denis, X and Y. Okay, here we go. Since he watched more, 6 times more, that tells me to multiply by 6. So I'm going to say X, which is how much TV Vidal watched, right? Equals 6 times the amount of TV Denis watched. And what are we using for the amount of hours that she watched? Y. So X equals 6Y. This is our first equation. And I got it from reading that. Vidal watched 6 times as many hours of TV as Denis. V del equals 6 times y.
Oh, I thought his name was Miguel.
V del with a V as in Victor. V de vaca, no de burro. Okay. Now we're going to get another equation. And that's going to come from this part. It says together they watched a total of 14 hours of television. When we think together, which math operation are we doing? Adding, subtracting, when we put things together. Adding. So if we take the number of hours Miguel watched and the number of hours.
7 hours.
Well, we don't know
8
that.
hours.
We don't know that. Well, maybe you're trying to work it out, but I just want to come up with a separate equation. So right now they're just x and y. So we're going to put those together, which means we're going to add them. So the total would be x plus y equals 14 hours. That's our second equation. That's going to come up a lot, where they'll say the total is this, or together they make this. And that's usually just adding your two variables, and it equals whatever they tell you. Do we have two equations?
Yes.
So now we can go on and solve it, but we'll do that on Monday. Okay?
You for real?
Yeah. Because today we're just practicing this part on delta. Defining the variables like we just did, and then coming up with the two equations. That's enough for today. Okay? This is going to be enough. All right. Ready to move on to number 2? Let's move on to number 2. Let's see here. It says, Lucida is a cross-country ski racer. And then it says, on Saturday, she skied twice as many miles as she did on Sunday. Over the weekend, she skied, a total of 63 miles. How far did she ski each day? Okay, that's the part we have to answer.
Oh, wait. So the weekend is just Saturday and Sunday?
The weekend is just Saturday and Sunday. So that's the days we want. So X is going to represent one of those weekend days. Which one do you want it to be?
Saturday.
So what about Saturday do we need to know?
That she scored less than Sunday?
Well, okay, we'll get to that, but we need to define the variables is what we're going to start with. So we're going to explain what each variable represents. And it has to get us to an answer. So it says how far, meaning miles. So X is the miles skied on Saturday. Because when we answer X, when we get an answer for X, that'll tell us how far she went on Saturday. Guess what Y is going to be? Miles skied on Sunday. Okay? So now we have what the variables represent. Let's go back and figure out our two equations. This is going to be similar to number 1. It says let's start here. On Saturday, she skied twice as many miles as she did on Sunday. Okay. So which day did she ski more miles? Saturday or Sunday? Saturday. So Saturday is X, and it's twice as many. So the number of miles skied on Saturday, that's X, equals, how would I write twice as many as Sunday? 2 plus 2 times 2 minus 2 times would be multiplying. Yeah. And what are we going to multiply 2 by? And that is Y. So the number of miles skied on Saturday equals twice the number of miles skied on Sunday. There it is. And I got that just from this sentence. On Saturday, she skied twice as many miles as she did on Sunday. Okay. Now we need another equation. We're almost there. It says over the weekend she skied a total of 63 miles. How do we total it up? The number of miles Saturday plus the number of miles Sunday is 63 miles. And we have a second equation, and we can solve it if we want to. We'll do that Monday. So far, so good? All right. Oh, was everyone done here? Okay. Let's go on to number 3. Okay, number 3. Bryson and Lily played a game of darts. Lily scored 4 more points than Bryson. The total of their scores was 180. How many points did Lily score, and how many points did Bryson score? That's what we have to answer. Okay? So, what is X and Y going to represent today?
X is the points that we scored, and then Y is
Yeah. I'm listening. That's exactly right. And Y is number of points. Bryson, B-R-Y? Yeah. Bless you.
So wouldn't X be 4?
Perhaps. We'll find out Monday. Today we just want to set up some equations. First part is defining what the variables represent. We got that. Let's see. I see here it says Lily scored 4 more points than Bryson. What does 4 more mean? Are we adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Plus. Okay. So who scored the most points? Lily did. So it's going to be X equals again. The points that Lily scored is 4 more than Bryson. So someone said 4 plus. 4 more than Bryson. And what are we using to represent Bryson? So X equals 4 plus Y. Okay. All right. Now we need another sentence to come up with another equation. The total of their scores was 180. All right. The total of their scores was 180. Yeah. Her points, X, plus Bryson's points, Y, equals 180 points. Okay. Not too bad, right? Okay. Let's move up to a little more difficult question. All right. You ready? Let's move on to this one. My suggestion all the time is read it once just to get the idea of what's going on. And also, if you can, figure out what your variables represent. So let's do that. Let's see here. It's a lot to read here. Herman got his commercial driver's license and is starting a new career as a truck driver. And yeah, you can make, if you're a long haul truck driver, you can make a lot of money. Getting trained and licensed involved a one-time cost of $481. Gas and insurance end up costing $2 per mile, or per kilometer. That's right. This must be European because it's kilometers, or maybe Mexico. All right. So this is his cost. It cost him this money. It cost him $481, maybe for all the fees and take the classes. And then when he was driving, practicing, he had to pay $2 per kilometer. So yeah, for the first delivery, Herman will get paid $362 plus $3 per kilometer that he drives. So this is when he starts earning money. He's going to get $362 and $3 per kilometer. Then it says if he drives a certain distance on this delivery, Herman will break even. What does it mean when you break even? Yeah, you basically, in this case, it means you make back everything you paid. So everything that he had to pay for, he's going to make back in this delivery. But we want to know when that is. So here's how we're going to find out. It says, how much would both the cost and earnings be? What distance did he travel? What distance did he have to drive? Okay, I'm going to underline that. That's the part we need to make variables with. Anytime you see the question, that tells you that that's where the variables are going to come from. So we have two things. We have his cost / earnings, how much he paid out and how much he's making, right? So let's make that X. So we're saying X is going to be the cost or earning for driving. Okay. So that's the first one. I literally just saw this and I put it into the one variable. Then it says, what distance would he have to drive? That's going to be Y. Y is the distance driven. And I'm going to put in kilometers. Because I always, since, I'm American, I'm always thinking miles, but we're doing this in kilometers. All right. So one variable deals with money. The other variable deals with distance. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to go back and reread. And one sentence will give us how much money he had to pay. The other sentence will give us how much he made. So his cost and his earnings. Okay, you ready? So let's see. Okay, this is all well and good, but we know don't need that. Here's where we start. Getting trained and licensed involved a one-time cost of $481. Gas and insurance cost him $2 per kilometer. Okay, let's underline that sentence. So we're going to underline this. And this is his cost. Okay. So this is the get cost part of this. So let's say since it's cost, it's X. How much it cost him to get trained is X. And how much did he have to pay? $481. But that's not the only thing he paid for, right? We have to add on some more. He also had to pay for gas and insurance. And that's $2 per mile. So that's going to be $2 for every mile. How many miles is he driving? Well, we don't know. It's $2. This is dollars. But it's $2 per mile. This is telling us how many miles, right? Distance driven in kilometers. So his cost, this is how much he has to pay out. Oh, here it is. this is what it cost him. $481 plus $2 per mile, or 2Y. Let's talk about his earnings, how much he's making. Well, that's also X. It's cost or earnings. This one's the earning part. Let's see how much he's earning. Let's see. I just saw it. It says for his first delivery, Herman will get paid $362 plus $3 per kilometer. This is what he's making. So again, it's X equals, how much money is he going to make? So let's start off with that. Plus $3 per kilometer. And that's 3Y. Okay. So basically we want to figure out in this one when his cost and his earnings are equal. That's the break-even point. Okay. And we'll do that on Monday. Any questions? All right. So today on Delta, we're going to do 5 of these. Let's switch over to Delta.